Okay. How about alternation?
Yeah.
When it comes to free stroke,
right?
Because we haven't quite spoken about that.
So this is a very, very treacherous area, one of the worst, where the hooking and popping really.
I would imagine. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So now, as unbelievable as it may seem, it is actually possible to envision alternation as being played against the string.
Free stroke?
Yes, free stroke. And I want to demonstrate this now. It's a little bit tedious to have to do this here, but how it works is like this. If you have one finger against the string and the other finger in the unprepared ready position,
right?
I stroke. Now notice I'm holding the guitar a bit off vertical, right? So I stroke and I'm still holding the guitar off vertical, right? Now I bring this finger out to the unprepared ready position. I stroke.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the other finger comes down just in time.
Just in time to catch it.
Right.
Right? Because if I fail, you see? All right, now if I apply that to staccato, that's still against the string, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now the question is, what happens when I play unprepared?
Yeah.
And obviously, after the first note,
yep,
I'm not against the string anymore.
Yep.
Okay? So what am I against?
I don't know.
I'm against my arm. You see?
Okay.
The arm substitutes for the string.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So you're playing into
my arm.
your arm.
Exactly.
So that's like the substitute for the string.
Exactly.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the point being that I'm 1 millimeter away from the string, so I already have the that precedent is there.
Okay.
And so it's not such a big leap of the imagination to be able to do this, right? And the fact that I'm off the right side of the nail. Now, I should be at great pains here to point out that I don't go the Ida Presti route and say that you play everything off the right side of the nail, because the problem that arises with that is that you get into the dipsy-do thumb. You know, although they deny this, if you want to look at the videos and so on, you can see the thumb going like this with the right side of the nail. So the register equality principle is violated.
Okay.
Okay. What we have to do is we've got to stick with this idea, and then you work out your M and your A according to your own designs. You think about it. I have a lot of them who can play a good solid M. You know, M is longer, so to do it off the right side of the nail is pretty inherent now. But when you get into the A finger, you know, it really does get sticky because it's shorter. It's not impossible, you know.
But it may not be the easiest for everyone.
Well, I mean, let's not even say easiest, you know, let's just say what is practical, you know, and how we can work things out, you know, and I mean, guitarists must search. You know, it's not a question of we will do French bowing or we will do German bowing or you know, I mean, you really have a unique sound producing apparatus here, and you've got to face that, and you've got to deal with it, you know, and if you deal with it effectively enough, it becomes a blessing. If you don't deal with it effectively, it's a curse.
It's what you make of it.
Well, precisely, you know, and avocational players, a lot of them, even Soar, he hated his A finger, and he never,
right?
yes, he never used it unless he absolutely had to.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, that's a definite sticking point, and I don't have any concrete answers to that, you know, but I do feel that we've taken it to a reasonable step here. You see that's free stroke, and rest stroke is off the left side, you know, and that already has brought me tremendous comfort and a lot of versatility in my playing, and I know, you know, where to. But I want to produce that effect, and
I should also add that it's brought you a structured approach to teaching.
Yeah.
That works.
Yes, that really does work, you know, and people seek it according to their means, you know. So when you're dealing with kids, for instance, and they don't have nails, then the right side of the tip is one thing, and it is actually the salvation of playing, because for them to be able to put the fingertip down here and play like that produces a good solid tone, you know, whereas to try to do it like this and here
hardly gives you anything.
And that's where all the hooking and popping and stuff takes off, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's pursue this one little step further.
Okay.
And let's talk about preparation in terms of audible and inaudible forms, right? Now, look, if I take a broken chord, see, now why is that tone so much more forceful than, you know, if I go like that? It's because I'm remaining against the string.
You're preparing.
Dynamite. And it doesn't stand that I will always use that degree of preparation, you know, in what I'm doing. But what it does stand is that the preparation is the physical application of anticipation, right? And if there was only one statement that I'd like to stand in this whole interview series,
it's that.
Exactly, that we need the physical manifestation of anticipation. You see, yes?
So preparation is being used to train the anticipation.
Well, I would say that it's being used as a guarantor of it.
To ensure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if I haven't thought ahead, I won't be able to get to that next string.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Okay, so that is inaudible preparation. And I always can do that. As a matter of fact, I can pursue preparation in any form when I'm just doing my workup, my tone and flow level, right? But of course the problem is that any time that I prepare two notes on the same string, I get a staccato. All right, now take the second bar here, that if I were to do it that way, I'd end up with gibberish.
Yeah.
Okay, now what I have to do here is I'm conscious of audible preparation. So therefore, voila.
You have created a musical effect.
Something beautiful.
Yes.
So if I alternate between the two,
Wow. This is invaluable preparation.
and I think that tying it into the musical result,
Yes.
like this, you know, you come up with something that is desirable in terms of a mic goal, you know, and you hear me always circling around to
Coming
this.
back to Mike.
Yeah. The idea that we need to maintain or achieve and maintain.
Yeah,
you know,
that is your guiding principle.
Precisely.
I can see through everything that you're doing.
Starting with my experience at the conservatory and being up against just giants, walking around as a pygmy amongst giants, you know, and then marrying into the string family, you know. So
Yes.
I mean, there's just no running away from it. That's all there is to it. You know? Join 'em law. That's the thing. Okay, so now if we take this staccato principle one step further, we have two kinds of staccato. Okay, we have an accented staccato. We have an unaccented staccato. So accented staccato.
That's an exercise that you have in
Yeah,
method, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the training of the accented staccato. Okay, now if I apply that to a piece, has that nice aggressive kind of bream punch
Yes.
to it, you know?
And that's because it's on the downbeat, right?
Yeah, downbeat staccato, right.
Okay.
Now, the other kind of staccato, okay?
Unstressed.
Unstressed. Exactly. So applying that in a musical context.
unstressed make beautiful music, but there's a lot of feeling in
Right.
this last one that you played.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helped a lot by the unstressed staccatos that you're producing.
My
the upbeats.
policy in these interviews is just to play excerpts, but I found that once
You went from
the
start to
mood
end.
started,
And I got caught up in that mood.
I
as
just
well.
had to finish it, you know.
Well, I think that's good. I think it
Yeah.
gives people a taste of the
Right.
full piece that
Yeah, yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's our concluding.
A name that we all recognize.
Yeah, Mr. Fernando Sor. And Jerry, I should say that everything that we've done here in a way has led to this example.
Okay.
And all of my work has led towards the kind of thinking that we're going to be discussing right now, you know, and that is how do we update the 19th century repertoire in terms of syntax, articulation, expression. You know, there's this very famous quote, the 19th century literature is big but boring. Okay, now that says it
Says it all.
for the state of the art, you know, and even you take the best recordings of it and so on, and you really sense, you know, that compared with Chopin sonatas or Mozart or you know that there is just a level that simply hasn't been addressed.
Yeah, something's missing.
Mic
Yeah.
applications
The magical term, mic. Yes.
is what's missing.
Yes.
Okay, now we could have a whole nother series
On
on
this.
yes, you know, and this is really something worth thinking about, you
Okay.
know. So, but let's at least get a start here, and here's a piece that everybody knows, and we're going to project it on screen now in terms of Sor's original. So. Nothing wrong with that, you know. It's just that it's kind of mediocre. So there's an interesting point about this, that the end of every bar is a descending third, right? Except when we, of course. Okay, now is that the be-all and end-all of what might be accomplished here? You see, because how am I actually playing? I'm playing strong, medium, right? Okay, now, would Sor have done that if he were composing this for one of his ballets or one of his other mainstream works? You know, would he have done it? And my contention is that he most certainly would not have done it.
Okay.
You see that the state of guitar notation, these guys being pioneers in the field of transforming guitar notation from tablature to staff notation, the state of the instrument, you know, in the sense that it was double strung up until the 1830s or so. Most assuredly, Sor in the monastery grew up playing a double string guitar.
Okay.
You know, and so all of these things plus the softness tended to limit the mic potential.
Yes.
of
Yeah, the construction of the guitars wasn't that great.
Exactly,
back then, right?
like
Yeah.
coffins, you know. Okay, but now on the other hand, Sor was also a mainstream composer, and he was a very reputable one, you know, and his ballets were performed at the Paris Ballet
Yes.
Company and so on and so forth. So he was completely conversant with string articulations and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So the big point that I want to make here as we project my edition of it on screen is that all I am doing in the third and fourth bars here, according to my own inclination, is to simply put in what Sor would have done in terms of a bowing. Okay.
Of a bowing.
Yeah, which I think involves this short phrase approach, okay, which takes it then from sounding like this to sounding. And suddenly for me, the sun comes up on the mic world, you know, and I end up having.
Cultured and refreshing. I would say. Yeah.
More classical, you know, and it just seems to me that it's crying out for these kinds of applications, and that we're not being original Not at all.
Wow.
By putting them in, but we can think of it actually as a process of restoration.
It is, certainly is. Most certainly it seems that way. But I mean, I'd say most guitar teachers out there, certainly for myself, we just teach the student to play the notes as they appear, and then we'd be just very happy with that result. But hearing the contrast between what you've suggested here and the original.
It's not that nothing has been accomplished in the tone and flow level, it's just that we haven't reached into the mic world.
Yes. It's become a lot more musical and expressive. It's played your way.
Jerry, the implications of this in terms of the difficulty of the 19th century repertoire are quite awesome. That to be able to play is one thing, and to be able to play is a whole nother thing.
Yes.
It's a whole nother level of training.
Involves a lot more.
Precisely. Not only perception, but technique as well.
Especially with the right hand.
Yeah.
Because you need to create that rest, you need to have the strong and the weak.
Right. Yeah. So
I can see how, like you say, everything that you've taught from the beginning flows into supporting, creating this sort of effect, with your own compositions and now with the traditional fundamental guitar repertoire.
Right.
So it all falls into place very well.
May I say that the most encouraging thing that I find about this is that there may be a few people like you who are willing to undertake this, and I don't think it's ever going to make you a wealthy man,
Well, if it feeds the soul and it feeds the spirit, I think that's a big part of things.
That's wonderful.
I mean, we still have to eat, but I mean, if we can sleep at night knowing that we've done our best to make the guitar musical as possible, I think that's about what we can ask for.
This is very encouraging for me. I have just spent my life's work trying not to become too cynical about this, especially where I live, because the commercial scene is just...
in the commercial scene, most guitar teachers wear two hats.
Well.
So, we try to teach pop. We also try to teach classical.
Yeah.
We just say, play the notes as they appear, and that's it.
Right.
Great stuff, Rob.
Good.
Great stuff.
Good.
Thank you.